No, but Alex did say that, and he did not want his mother, his widowed mother, to remarry, and he brought up a lot of things. Right? We also heard from Victor. Victor also gave us a call. Victor also did not want his mother to remarry.
Hello, good evening, Sandra.
Good evening. Would you
Yeah,
support your mother remarrying?
no.
Tell me why.
Already, my mom is a widow,
Okay.
and then back then, after my father died and he was buried, after like 2 years, she stayed for 2 years. She gave a try. It didn't turn out good. It wasn't married, it was just friend dating. Turned out very violent, turned out very plenty of problems. And then, then we were still young, small. We could not retaliate,
Okay.
what the man normally did to her. And then after another 2 years and a half, she gave another try. At this point, I was already strong enough. I was supporting her, doing labor work to, keep my
Support
mother
her.
going. And then this man, I was actually somewhere in Calabar. And then returning home, I saw that, there is a man. And then, that is my mother's decision. And I have a discussion with her. He said he's a good man. He's very supportive. So along the line, the same thing that happened to the first one started. Violent fight trouble. So at this point, I was strong enough to handle the man. So whenever I'm around, it would not start. But when I'm not around, it will start. So in fact, the relationship actually ended with me. Because I was the one day that this man displayed this thing, it was an open fight, and I dealt with him. That was the end of the relationship. So, and since then, my mother decided not to. And I can tell you, for over 16 years now, she's married to Jesus. I'm telling you, when I heard other women saying you cannot say, and she's just 53. She's married. She go to our church. She go to evangelism. She read our Bible. She's excited. Whenever me and my brother travel home, she will hug us. She will take us like a husband, and that is how it should be.
But you're not
because
her
if
husband.
another man,
But you're not her husband. She has certain needs that you cannot
if
meet.
another man comes in, he will give up. This is the life experience I'm telling you.
I understand. I understand what you're saying, right? And I understand that she's been unfortunate in finding the right companion. She's been unfortunate enough to find people who continue to beat her.
There is no fortunate when it comes to that. Any man that will come to a woman that has already married and the husband died, that man is no. In fact, there is no fortunate. There's no fortunate. And the other guy was saying, when the other man was saying the mother get to church, and he was saying nonsense. What? You see, it is easy for when a woman died, man can easily get married, even to a young lady, and bring her to his home, which he knows that this young lady will take care of her children. But it is almost, in fact, very unacceptable for a man to come and marry a woman a widow woman who has children. Is it like this man doesn't see other women outside?
Victor, there are some second marriages where the husbands are good to their wives, where the husbands take care of the children. The same way a new wife.
Children. I'm telling you out of experience, even without my own experience.
The same way you also have women who discriminate against the children of their husband who has been married before. So that thing is down to the individual. It's down to human character. It's not about, something is wrong with a man for wanting to marry a woman who has been married before and had children.
Other guy said, Sandra, the other guy said, what is the man coming to do? I was laughing. That is the question you should be asking. What is the man coming to do?
Why are you discountenancing? What are you discountenancing? Why are you discountenancing your mother's needs, your mother's desires? What if your mother wants the companionship?
She's perfect and she is very happy.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
I am telling you. In fact, in fact, we don't even mention such things because, in fact, this also boils down in kind of person anybody is. She's a total repentant woman. After that incident, she accepted her call and decided to follow God straightly.
All right, Victor.
And that was last week, and that was one of the callers who called in last week, right? And he made it clear that in Nigeria, widows still get a raw deal. Now, it may be easier for some widows than others, depending on how rich they are and how well educated they are or how prominent their family is. But it doesn't change the fact that in general and by default, our society is not kind to widows. And that's men and women, it's not just men. And today I want us to talk about how and talk about why. Now, there was this call that I got from a particular guy. I think his name was Paul or Peter. And he said something very, very interesting. I want you to listen to what he had to say.
Pascal is in Surulere. Hello, Pascal.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Good to have you on the show, sir.
Yes, for what you are saying about for a widower to remarry. You know, men are the owner of land, but women, they are not owner of land, they are owner of home. Can you hear me?
I am trying to understand what you're saying.
Hello?
I am hearing you. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yes. What I'm saying is that, you know, men face so many challenges. Well, if women can face the challenges men face, yes, they can go ahead. You know,
what kind of challenge do men face with marriage that women don't face?
The challenge to remarry with women, you know, as in for a young widower to remarry. Yes, for her, at least there is suspicion for her.
There's suspicion. What do you mean suspicion?
Yes, suspicion from the family. Family background, whether she's the one that killed the husband. You understand? But elderly women, you know, another challenges there is that, you know, in the land, you understand? They may say, okay, where is your own land? Where is your own? Because if she marry another man and got child to the man. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Got child to the man, you know, and decided she has another children from another man. You know, it's a very big challenge for her to face.
How is it a big challenge?
A big challenge for her as a man. The home itself, as I told you, the man is the owner of the land. You know, the land itself know that, you know, this man, you know, see his portion, take this one. But woman, as in home, you don't have a land, you know, they will not tell you where is the portion. You know, you go and keep these ones to take care of themselves. So that is a complicated issue for her.
I own land. Pascal, I own land. I own several lands. I own land. I'm a woman and I own land. My husband owns land as well. So I'm still trying to understand the point you're making with this own land point.
The own land, you know, is a traditional thing. It depends the area.
I'm a traditional woman, and I own land. So what are we talking about?
Okay, you own land.
I own land.
Let's say you own a land. Yeah? Okay, then you now got 2 children. You understand? You have, maybe you have 2 land now. If you have 1 land, it's a problem. But if you have 2 lands, it's no problem.
If I have 1 land, I can share it between my 2 children now.
You say what?
Can't I share 1 land between 2 children?
Okay, you can go. I just want to, do my own thing. You can go ahead if you want to face the challenges, no problem.
Interesting. Pascal, thank you for calling.
So I was wrong. It wasn't Peter or Paul. It was Pascal. Pascal called us last week Wednesday and said that. And I'm curious what you have to say, huh? Lots of strong feelings about widows remarrying. Now, to be fair, we also got a lot of calls last week, and a lot of people were saying, come on, allow them to remarry. They have feelings too. They have needs. They need the companionship. There's nothing wrong with it. But remember, last week I pointed out that when a man is widowed, people even rush the man to remarry. There's no conversation about it. People say, he cannot stay alone. So you can see that there's a double standard for widows and widowers when it comes to remarriage. And it's not just remarriage. That's what I want us to focus on today. So when you call, you're not going to be talking to me about, is it okay for your widowed mother to remarry? I want us to talk about other areas, other aspects of life where widows are treated worse than widowers in our culture. So this man, Pascal, he talked about inheritance. When was the last time that you heard about a dead woman's relatives coming to fight her husband to collect her property? Maybe it happens. If it happens, tell me. I don't think it happens. And if it does, I think it's very, very, very rare. It's definitely more rare than the stories we hear of widows getting displaced by their brothers-in-law. I had a friend who died, and as soon as he died, his wife's friends just moved all the property the man had into their own houses because they knew that the man's brothers will come and try to take over everything. So they drove some of his cars to different compounds. They just did everything they could because the man died without a will. Now, some of you will call me now and you say, Sandra, it's because more men own land than women. First of all, yes, more men own land than women. But that one serves an even bigger problem. That one is because of all the inequalities in our society that have led to men, on average, being richer than women. But let's even look at those minority of the cases where the woman owns land. Because you come here and say, nobody comes to drag property because the woman doesn't have property. Let's look at some women that actually own property. So some women like me, I'm a landowner. If I were to die today, would the women in my family come to drag my land with my husband? No, they'll leave it for him. But if my husband were to die today, at least one man in his family will get the idea and he will say, how can that woman carry our brother's land? I no go agree. That's the problem. Even in the few cases where women have land, nobody is saying that a widower cannot take the wife's land. If it happens, call me and tell me, please. And here's something else some of you will call and say. You say, Sandra, in our tradition, women cannot own land. Or in our tradition, brothers and sons inherit the land, not the widows. Is it right? Is that right? Are you still killing twins? Do you know that in some traditions, it was okay to kill twins before, Abi? Are you still swearing oath and dancing masquerade? Are you still selling slaves? Shebi, all of those things are part of our traditions. They were part of our traditions in Nigeria before. Why did we stop? We stopped them because we decided that they were not good anymore. We decided that they were harmful in some way. So why is it that when it comes to treating widows better and treating women better in general, we are always so quick to say our tradition will not allow? This same tradition that we're always changing. And if you're saying it's tradition, what do you say about the people who seize property from widows even in the city? 0700-993-993-993 or 700-993-993-993. Why do so many Nigerians not want widows to inherit their husband's property? Why do so many places insist on dividing the property to her brothers-in-law or her sons? Why don't we see the same treatment for widowers? WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. We're also streaming on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. Paul is in Ogun State. Hello, Paul.
Yeah. I can say I enjoy your program anywhere. You see, like what they're saying about the widows, whoever, a woman that has the husband died and the family come to fight the woman, or rather, a man that died, the family of the man come to fight the woman. I can assure you that some people now who do all these things are cowards, who come to fight a woman because of the husband property. But I want to ask, some certain people do these things. Did they work that property together with the woman and the man? They didn't. They were elsewhere. Now the man hustled with this woman and make his property. So when the man died, I believe the woman and the children owns the man's property. Like now, let me give an example of mine now. My brother was late 2007. And he has a property in this Lagos. And he's there with his wife. He married in Ogun State here, where I'm from, somewhere in the eastern region. So when he died, they called me that my brother is sick. I went to his room and I took him. By the time my brother is late, yes, I don't hang with the children. We'll find the means now. I took him home. We take him to my hometown. We'll do the burial. After doing the burial, we'll bring her home. Today, we'll come back here in this Lagos. Today now, the family are living with their mother there. Why didn't I go there now to go and fight for my brother's property? Hence, I know that in my culture, that the first son owns the father's property. Yeah? I would have gone there to go and fight them and carry all the property and drive the woman away. Yeah? So my advice now to the Nigerians who do such things, they should desist from that. Because I know quite sure that when a man marries his wife, he and his wife become one. Unless they give you one property there, the son gives you, then he takes. Then how can you go there now to go and fight? So that's my own contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for calling to contribute. We appreciate it. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Why do so many Nigerians not want widows to inherit their husband's property? Why don't we see the same treatment for widowers? Our traditions that say that women shouldn't own land, are they fair and are they just? Do you think we should change those traditions? Because even though Paul called and said some very nice things, I heard where he said, the first son will inherit the property. So that's also a conversation that needs to be had. How we don't recognize that the Constitution says if a man dies, the woman, his wife, immediately is the heir to his estate. The same for if the woman dies, the husband is the heir to his estate, to her estate. Not the children, the spouse. But that's a different conversation for a different day. I've got Godi on the line. Godi, hello.
Good evening, Sandra.
Good evening. Why do so many Nigerians not want widows to inherit their husband's property?
Well, listen, you see, what I want to contribute is there is a point I feel you people are missing.
Okay.
In Nigeria, we have different traditions and different cultures. Like in Igbo land where I come from. It's a man that marries a woman. It's not a woman that marries a man. So if you marry, if a man gets married, he will take the woman to his house and not the woman taking the man to his house. So when you take the woman to his way, you are going to fight for inheritance and not going to another man's house like Oyibo culture. That is Oyibo culture.
No, so hold on. Let me understand what you're saying. So if I marry you now, Godi, and I have my own property, and I die, you get my property, Abi? Because I married you. But if you die, I don't get your property because you married me and I can carry your property to another man?
No, if I marry you, I married you, I will take you to my house.
Okay.
And not you marrying me, taking me to your house.
And you now die. Should I marry another man with the property that you left?
No, if you marry another man, you go to that man's house and leave the property to my children.
But when you die, you're dead. Your property is now my property.
That if you remain with me, and have issues with, you have children with me.
Even if I have children with you, you're dead. So the property is now my property. I can do with the property what I like. That's even what the Constitution says.
This Constitution, we have cautions. Like I heard you when you said you have property. The land you have is the one you bought, and not the one from the family. It's the one you bought. That is your inherited. That is your acquired property. You pay for it. So nobody will drag that one with you. But if it's for the family, it's family property.
How is the property that my husband and I worked for and bought and built family property?
The one you and your husband worked for and bought belongs to you and your husband. But if you marry another man, that other man cannot come and lay claim to it.
Why?
Because that is if you marry, you are going to the man's house. You will not bring it to my own house.
But it's not your house. It's my house.
It's my own culture.
It's my house.
Where is your house? Even if I build house with you as an Igbo man, the house belongs to me.
No, but when you die, the house now belongs to me now as your Igbo wife.
If I die, unless if we don't have children, if we have children as an Igbo man, the house belongs to me.
No, as an Igbo man, if you die, the house belongs to me. When I die, then it transfers to my children.
Fine. But when you are leaving, you cannot go and marry another man to come and acquire it.
Why will the man come to acquire it? It is my land. Why is the man coming to my house to acquire my property?
You are talking of marrying another man. When you marry another man, you go to the person you marry, you go to his house.
If I marry, but I'm going to his house. Even if I'm going to his house to live, or he's coming to my house to live, the property is still my property. It is not the man's property.
If there's any property acquired in your name, if there's any property acquired in your name, you can go with that. But anyone that is not acquired in your name, that is acquired in my name, the name of that family, you cannot go with it.
Okay. So if the wife had a house before she married and then she dies, does the husband get her house?
Yeah. No, if the wife, it differs. It depends on the type of woman you marry. If you marry a woman that can, when you marry her, she can give everything over to you. Fine, but if she refuses to give it to you, it remains her property.
Exactly. So why is it different now that I'm marrying a new man with my property?
You are marrying a new. That is what I told you. The one that you bought with your money remains your property. Once the name has not been changed, it remains in your name. But if I marry you, one of the conditions must be that everything will be in my name.
Oh, really?
In our name. Either in my name or in our name.
Is that so?
And once it is in our name, belongs to me and my family.
But I'm telling you now, but I'm telling you now that something that is in both our names or even in your name, once you die and you don't have a will, the Nigerian Constitution says that property now belongs to me. Cody, thank you for calling me. It's been great talking to you. Lagos, I want to hear more of your thoughts. Our numbers are 0700 993 993 993. We have a long way to go. A long way to go. I'm going to take your thoughts from WhatsApp as well. WhatsApp is 080 959 75805.
This is the Glass Ceiling on Hard Facts. This is the Glass Ceiling on Hard Facts.
We're streaming this conversation online, Facebook and YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. Even though I have somebody standing in front of my camera at the moment, Lagos, you can watch and you can listen online, Nigeria Info.fm. We have a mobile app as well, so please go ahead and download from your app store. We've got a comment here. It says, Sandra, you see that the last speaker stumbled with your last question. Cheating widows out of their husband's property is just one of the wicked cultures in Igbo land. That obnoxious culture needs to be abolished outright. Thank you, Sandra. That's a message from Tony from Birmingham, Alabama. I wish we'd stop calling it her husband's property. It's her property. Sandra, you don't fight for property in Igbo land once you are a married woman, unless you do not want the happiness of your children. Best is to stay and take care of your children to enjoy what you and your husband worked for. Igbo CJ says. Sandra, the issue of culture is very unfair at times. I once heard of a situation where a man passed away, leaving the wife and 2 sons. The woman remarried and didn't have any child. She also passed away after a few years, and the kids were pushed out of the house by the new wife of the man that she last married. Meanwhile, the woman brought her own wealth from her first marriage because she was well-to-do. The 2 children became orphans without a dime to their names. What's your opinion about this? Well, the woman was silly. She did not write a will. If she had written a will, those 2 children would have had a legal document protecting and preserving their wealth. So if there's anything that you learn from her story, is that you should write a will. Huh? Okay. Also, the husband she married was a wicked person alongside the new wife. Now, that one is a different matter about human beings being wicked. It's not an argument for why widows should not marry after their husbands die, or widows should not hold on to their property after their husbands die. That's not a good argument. This person says, hello, Sandra. Which gibberish Igbo tradition was that last caller talking about? That is totally nonsense. Okay. I hope we respect the opinion of others. We've got Chooks on the line. Chooks is in Isolo. Hello, Chooks. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. Why do so many Nigerians not want widows to inherit their husband's property?
Sandra, it depends. It depends. One, it depends if the widow have children. Yeah, because I don't think there's any culture that supports a widow not inheriting this, except if the widow doesn't have children. One, and if the widow decides to leave the family and remarried, that means if he doesn't have children. But if the widow has children and remain with the family, automatically the property, nobody takes it. The children inherit it with the mother, or the mother inherits it with the children. But if the mother doesn't have children and decide to leave and remarry to another man, the property goes to the man's family.
Okay.
Yeah. So it goes to the man's family. Because if you come to, let's just look at it this way. You know, you marry, a man gets married to a lady, and the lady changes. You ask yourself, why do ladies change their name and automatically begin to bear the man's name as a surname? You know, you change your name, you begin to bear the man's name. Why don't you bear your own father's name or what as you're going to a man's place? You bear the man's name, and all these things are for the lineage to continue, the man's lineage to continue.
So the woman's lineage should not continue, huh?
No, the woman has her own brother or what who continues.
What if she doesn't have a brother? What if she's the only girl?
What if she's the only girl?
Only girl, only child. Her lineage should die with her, Abby.
They still have cultures. There are still some cultures that if you have this thing, you decide not to marry, and you have to go and get pregnant and give birth for your father's lineage to continue. Some cultures does it. A family that has only a girl as a child, the girls go and get pregnant and give birth to the father's name. But as long as you are married to another man and you bear the man's surname, automatically you are in that man's lineage now. You are for the continuity of that man's lineage. You have gotten married to.
All right, Chooks. Thanks for calling. I'm exhausted. Let me tell you a story. My father has a friend. And no, actually, let me not tell you that story. Let me tell you this story. My friend's father is dead. Now, before my friend's father died, he and his wife were married for more than 40 years. More than 40. They started life together. They grew together. They both had successful careers. They prospered. They had children, 4 sons, 2 daughters. They bought land. They built houses. They got older. And eventually the man died. And after he was buried, the oldest son called a family meeting. And he said, "It's time to divide my father's property." I'm telling you this story because you know this inheritance, you see this inheritance angle and these sons matter that last caller talked about. I want us to look at it a bit because a lot of people may agree that when a man dies, his brothers should not get the property, but instead of his wife, they will say, let the sons get the property. That's why I'm telling you this story. So the first son of my friend's father, first son, said, let's divide my father's property. And the mother looked at him and said, are you the one to tell me what to do with my property? And this first son looked at his mother and he said, it's not your property, it's my father's property. And this woman, this grieving woman, said to her son, where were you when your father and I struggled to earn money and save it and buy land and build these houses? We are one. Everything I have was your father's, and everything he had is mine. And then she asked him, if I was the one that was dead and your father were alive, would you call family meeting to divide my property? Do you know what the 3 sons said? They said no. And they insisted that she must divide everything. One of the sons and the daughters said that their mother should keep everything and only, give them what she wants to give them, if she wants to give them. Right? And when they told me that story, I judged it. And I said, you know what? Let me bring it to you guys so that you can judge it for yourself. Let's put tradition and custom aside. Let's judge this matter on a human level. If 2 people build a life together and one of them dies, should the other one be forced to divide up their property for anybody else, even her children? Should the children not wait until both parents are dead to inherit what they leave behind? If that woman were to divide the property among her children and be left with nothing for herself, and then have to become dependent on these children in her old age, how will that be fair? But maybe not only me, they look at with that eye. 0700-993-993-993. I want to talk to more people, right? So I can't afford to be talking to one person for 5 minutes. So I'm going to shorten the time. Each person gets 2 minutes, right? That story I told you, I want you to judge it. If 2 people build a life together and one of them dies, should the other one be forced to divide up their property for anybody else? Augustine is on the line. Augustine, hello.
Hello, Sandra, my sister. Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank you. Sandra, that very child you made reference to is an irresponsible person.
Okay.
Go to record. You see all these people who always rush when their elder brother or younger brother that is wealthy died. They rush to his property, driving the wife, the widow out. It's irresponsible people.
Okay.
So because that woman has the right over the husband's property,
until when she pass away, before the son should get up and say, divide our father's, this is my father's something, divide it. She's an irresponsible child. That's all. All those people you see, when they lost their brother, so they started rushing for property. They are irresponsible.
All right, Augustine. Thank you for calling. Hello.
Hello, Sandra. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
My name is Sylvester.
Sylvester, judge this story that I brought to you.
Yes, I think these issues, we may not have considered them very well.
Okay.
I agree that the sons were wrong by approaching their mother to divide the property. They would have waited for the mother to enjoy the property, and after their mother, they would take over.
Okay.
But beyond this, I want us to look at something. Is family properties are actually meant for the benefit of the children of the marriage, not even the husband or the wife. Now, if there is a business in the managed by the family, most times it is usually managed by the father. And when he dies, you find out that the business begins to shake. I witnessed this in my own family. That is what I'm telling you. The children may not even be able to manage, the mother may not be able to manage the business. Before you know what is happening, they begin to talk about dividing it and all those kind of things, or selling it off to share the money and all that. So these are societal issues that usually affect family when the husband dies. It's not straightforward as to whether the man should take or whether the husband should be the one to take. I want to also look at another thing quickly before I drop.
Your time is actually up already, but thanks for calling. I'm giving everyone 2 minutes because I want to take as many calls as possible. If the wife had died first, would these boys have gone to their father to ask their father to divide property? Let me talk to Nnamdi. Nnamdi, hello.
Okay. Yes. Good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Okay. As regards to the topic you are discussing, I would say, from my own perspective, actually, I have my mom. My dad is late.
Okay.
My mom is alive.
Okay.
In my family, nobody needed to drag any property, and my dad left properties down before he died. And nobody needed to drag any property from anybody. Nobody needed to say this is my property. And for that person, for that particular son to bring it up, saying that this they needed to share the property of his father, is very wrong. Is absolutely wrong. The mother, that is the woman, being the spouse of the late man, of the man that died, is supposed to enjoy the property. She's supposed to gain access, even though the son can seem like, oh, this is my property or this is our property. It should not come out to saying this is my property. Even though there could be something like, there could be some like what is it called, like a suggestion saying this could be his property, but it should not come out. It's not supposed to come out to say this is my property. Everybody should leave.
All right, Nnamdi, thanks for calling. Unfortunately, we have to take a pause here, but don't worry. Next week, Wednesday at 4, join me. We're going to have this conversation yet again. No, actually, next week, Wednesday, I have a conversation about citizenship, right? Nigerian women being unable to give their citizenship to their children if they, being unable to hand their citizenship over to their children. I'll tell you more about that next week, Wednesday. So look forward to that conversation. But this particular conversation we're having, we will have it again. Right now, we're expecting people from who talk to us about asset diversification in Lagos. So enjoy it, and let's talk pensions on the other side of 5 o'clock.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.